Hey there, and welcome to U Talk. We highlight stories from across Canada, the diverse cultures and communities living here, and organizations and individuals that help make life the best it can be. I'm your host, Ryan Funk. GerryFest is a festival dedicated to the life and work of Gerry Atwell. This Friday, the 13th, is going to be great, and up until August 15th, mentees from the Raising New Voices mentorship program will be performing along with other musicians and exhibiting their visual works in the gallery at the St. Norbert Arts Centre. The festival will also be recorded and produced. Judy Williams, sister of Gerry, sat down with me to talk about this festival, Gerry's legacy, and an endowment fund fostering young artists.
My name is Judy Williams. I'm one of Gerry's older sisters. Gerry came from a family of 7 children, and we grew up in St. Norbert, Manitoba, Winnipeg, and I still live here now.
Mm-hmm. So, who was Gerry Atwell?
Well, a lot of people describe Gerry Atwell as definitely a communicator, an ideas person, definitely an empathetic listener, a great connector. But his skills were definitely in collaborating and putting together ideas and solutions for people who were doing a variety of things, whether it was things to do with the arts or things to do with their personal lives. Mm-hmm. Gerry had obviously the last 25 years, he had been very active at the St. Norbert Arts Centre. So he worked there alongside with his good friend Louise, who was the founder of the centre, in various positions. He was a board member, he was a chair, he was a program director and a curator at the Arts Centre through those years. And Gerry's vision was always to have the stories of Black Canadians to be told to the greater public. He and all of us recognized that some of those stories were definitely missing from our school curriculum. And so besides, visiting and interviewing our parents and other people, he wrote several plays with that content, and a few of them were staged. Mm-hmm. Gerry also was known as a very active community builder. He was an amazing writer, as I mentioned, so he wrote a lot of grants for organizations to do a variety of programming, a lot focused on youth, but it all focused on community building in various senses of that.
So Gerry was also heavily involved in music. From your brother, when do you kind of remember that kind of like sparking up in him?
There were 7 of us in our family, 7 children, and our parents arranged for a piano teacher to come to the house every Saturday, and we all had a 30-minute lesson. So we all took lessons on the piano, and I guess probably in his teenage years, Gerry also played the trumpet in the naval band. But in his teenage years, he just started to be more interested in music and writing songs, and had some of his friends come over and they started to jam and create music. And it was probably then when Gerry was forming a band that he really perfected and practiced his skills at playing the piano. So that's when we really saw it changed as far as his commitment to learning music and playing music. And shortly after that, he started forming bands. He was in a variety of bands. I found a sheet that he started, that kind of a graft that started in 1975 with the names of some of the bands he was in at the very beginning. It actually ends in 1993, so there's a few years missing on this sheet here, but one of his first bands was Mesmerai, and then he was in a band called Brainchild, Savannah, some of you might know, Ground Zero, Cobra, Offshore Express, that played at the Paddle of Queen, on the Paddle of Queen. He played with Chris Brigafni for years, another band called Act 5, Rock Calypso, that was still playing with that years ago before he passed away. Voice of Boom was one that we all loved to go and dance to and hear. He played with Cecil Brown rather, Apocalypso, Oscar Lopez, Blue Fade, the Bundys, and quite a few other ones. So Gerry played in.
Wow, he was busy. He was very he was very busy.
Very busy. Yes.
I mean, I can definitely hear from that. He was inspired. I just think it's cool because back in high school I played trumpet as well, so that's a pretty cool thing. But yeah, he got really involved, and I guess he took that passion and he wanted it to share with others, and that's why he wanted to join at the St. Norbert's Arts Centre then.
Well, yes, I mean that's probably part of the reason why. I mean, as I mentioned, Louise May was a friend of his. They had known each other in school as well, and she had founded the Arts Centre about 30 years ago, and they ended up working together, starting off in the board level. But yes, and then because of course it worked really well with the other arts, because he liked to write, not just write songs, but he liked to write plays and others and stories, and he was a great storyteller at the same time. So it worked really well for him to look for funding to be able to launch some of these things, to launch some of the plays that he was writing, feature them there, and also artists that wanted to be on site at the Arts Centre.
So he's really left kind of a lasting legacy. He was kind of involved in a lot of stuff, the arts community, and kind of just like you mentioned, sharing the story of Black Canadians. So what can you tell me about kind of his involvement in that and the stories he was wanting to tell?
Oh, one of the plays that he launched that was featured at the Arts Centre was called Soul in Ice, Untold Stories of Everyday Life. So it was basically vignettes, I guess you call them vignettes, where he had talked to our mother and had some stories about her mother. Her mother had actually come to St. Norbert to attend a convent when she was 11 years old in 1905. So he had a little vignette of that experience for her as the only Black child in a school, French boarding school in St. Norbert. So that was a small vignette that was part of the play. And then our grandmother on our father's side, our dad had come from Trinidad. So we always, every year we would get this care package, basically a tin full of really interesting dark fruit cake and Tulum candy and various things. So, and there's something about the fact that we would expect this gift from away every year. And so we kind of had weaved the story about that experience as kids, how we felt getting this gift from our grandmother that was away. And there was some of the Soul and Ice included some dances to represent different things. Another one of the scripts in that series was called The Grandmother Land. And then he had written all the music for this play as well. And one of the songs was called From Here. And this soloist, Cecil Brown, was the person who had recorded that music. And she is actually re-recording it right now for us to eventually present again during one of the GerryFest events.
Speaking of GerryFest, so when did this all start and what exactly is it?
Okay, so GerryFest basically started, the idea of GerryFest is to have an outdoor festival of the arts dedicated to the life and work of Gerry Atwell, and to locate it at the St. Norbert Arts Centre, which was his place for like 25 years. The intention is to have this an annual event where a new artistic work can be showcased to the public. We're in the middle of having a stage built on site as well. But the idea is to feature emerging artists, particularly from communities that are underrepresented in the arts. And we want to stage some of the written work that Gerry has produced over the years that has focused on experiences of Black Canadians. And GerryFest is also to raise money as a vehicle to raise money for the Gerry Atwell Memorial Mentorship Endowment Fund that we created as well. But the idea of GerryFest, the arts festival, came from Gerry himself. He had shared with a few friends that he would love to have a concert and invite various bands he played with to participate. He had told a friend that he would actually call it GerryFest, and he would be very happy to be playing music all day long with each of his bands. So that's where the idea kind of came from for the name of it. But really it was just to not forget him and to keep trying to do some of the things he had always been doing, get people together, get people performing, showcasing, helping others, etc.
Of course, you want to be able to give people the opportunity to just show their stuff. Like if someone isn't given the chance, you never know, who's going to be, a massive big performer if they don't have that, that first shot to get their sound out there.
This is the second year. We did it last year, and we were involved, and we were able to have a full day event. It did rain a lot, so we ended up moving the event indoors last year. We had a full day of performances with 1 hour of it being live streamed by CBC, and that you can still find easily. The theme for this year, 2021, is Raising New Voices, Each One Teach One, looking at action, liberation, healing through community and relationship building. So that's what the theme for this year is based on. It's kind of the guiding principles that we knew Gerry had set himself. So that's our theme for this year.
I mean, it's a little unfortunate that like your launching event kind of took place during this whole pandemic situation.
Yes, exactly. It was difficult last year, even though we were able to get the clearance to have 300 people. We had the Arts Centre designed to have groups of 100 only, as we were allowed to last summer. But then with the rain, of course, people didn't come, which worked out okay in the end because we had to move things inside in the end. So that worked out okay. But this year, we were able to launch the mentoring program, which is the key piece of GerryFest. So with that project, we were able to get some funding, and we invited various ethnic community organizations to refer participants emerging artists, we would say, who were interested in the program, our mentorship program, to apply, to register. And that started in February of this year. So in April, we had 2 days of professional development workshops with 10 registered artists. And after meeting with 10, we really had a hard time choosing. And we thought we'd choose 2 or 3 of them to continue with and select 3 mentors to work with them. In the end, we decided to try to keep them all 10. Through the Zoom workshops we had with them, we realized that as they shared their work with each other, they really had been working in isolation for the last year and a half. And even just on Zoom, they encouraged each other and found that they were inspired by each other. So we worked out a way to have small group and large group and one-on-one mentorships planned for the course. It started in June and it's running until GerryFest. And with the goal of these artists to showcase their work at GerryFest. There's visual artists and there's musicians. Musicians will be on stage. Visual artists will have a display in the art gallery on the main floor of the Arts Centre for that weekend.
Yeah, the collaborative aspect of music can really help, especially, people just being locked away by themselves for such an extended amount of time because of things.
Yes.
But that's super awesome. So you've mentioned a little bit about an endowment fund. What can you all tell me about that?
Yes. Basically, when Gerry passed away, a lot of us gathered to plan a celebration, but at the same time, we did want to keep something going. And one of the things that came through very strong through any conversation we had with people who knew Gerry, who came up to us and told us they knew him, to his family, was that he had been an inspiration. He had been a mentor to them. He had listened to them. He provided some ideas for what they might do to their work, to move their work forward professionally. And so we thought that we'd be great to continue that work, not just with young people, but with emerging artists in any sense, because he worked with people all different ages. So we did decide to start a fund. We call it the Gerry Atwell Memorial Mentorship Fund. And this endowment fund, we have the fund is being kept for us, growing in the Winnipeg Foundation. So this year with GerryFest and other donations, we're really hoping to this year to raise $100,000. That would really help us to secure the ongoing ability to run the mentorship program each year. They kind of go hand in hand. Like the mentorship program feeds GerryFest. We want that to kind of be the relationship, synergy that we created with the two of the programs.
Yeah, I mean, endowment funds like this are like just crucial because you don't want to start an amazing project or an amazing idea and then all of a sudden run out of funds for it, and then you're like, well, shoots.
Exactly. Yeah.
This sucks. It was such a great idea, and I really hope to see this succeed. So, Gerry has had such a massive impact on everyone, and so what would you think he would respond to kind of the legacy he's left behind? I know looking online, I saw someone say an elder statesman for the Black community. What do you think he would feel about everything that's been going on, that's been inspired by him?
I think he'd be very happy with what we've been doing so far. I'm not sure. He's very humble. I don't know whether he'd want to be necessarily called a spokesperson, but he definitely had his pulse on what was going on for the Black community. But in any case, I do think that a lot of us felt that Gerry has been directing us in some ways. To even when we put on the memorial, the One Love memorial for him, we kind of could almost feel his, orchestration of that event. And so I know I do feel him close to me as I continue to plan as a co-chair of GerryFest, plan events that we're putting on right now. But I think we also launched a Gerry Atwell Legacy YouTube channel, and the plan with that is to try to pull together some of the work that Gerry has done, whether we have it in a box somewhere as a master tape, put it on that channel so more of his work can be seen. And then some of his written work, we found lots of plays that were not published that he had written. So we still would like to do that, is publish them somehow, maybe get some funds and have them put a stage production on, put them in a book or something. So there's lots of work to do right now, but we ended up hiring a mentee at the Arts Centre to work this summer as a summer student to do some of that work. So we'll probably have more of it launched on the YouTube channel soon. But I think we're on the right track. I know with COVID this year, many musicians were not performing, and I always wonder what solutions Gerry would have come up with to keep people moving ahead, because he always was that idea person. So I'm just curious of what he would have come up with this past year to keep people either writing new stuff, new work, or collaborating together, exploring, like keeping their craft going. Because I have heard from a few people who haven't been playing that they feel that sometimes playing regularly was their practice as well with their instrument or their voice. So they've kind of felt that they were losing some of that. And even though, like, my background, I'm a social worker and I'm a community person too, programming person, but music industry is not my background, but I am learning a lot more about it these last 2 years. I'm meeting many of Gerry's friends and colleagues, which has been really nice. And what they've also told me is that they're really missing his talent he had for booking events. He was a person who would set up he talked to the hotels or talk to some different bands and set up some different events, get people collaborating again, get them a fair pay for the work they would do for their gigs. He'd take a lot of care of a lot of those details. And a couple of people have said to me that right now they refer to some of the organizing a gig as like herding cats, they're saying. So, so I think we need someone, I guess, some people to come on board and take that role now, because that is falling through a little bit. But around, the Black community, I know Gerry has been called upon a lot to, whether it's CBC calling him because something happened, there's an issue, a matter going on with, maybe racialized under overtones or some crisis situation happening. call him and ask him to comment. And if you were also to follow his Facebook feeds, you would see he would comment on things. If somebody came across his feed that he thought needed to be discussed or referenced, he would definitely say something about it in a really eloquent way, diplomatic way. As my nephew would say, he's kind of a non-judgmental type of person. So he tended to read his audience and then provide the kind of education they might need on a topic of that nature, or support, or just let them know what they need to do or should do in that way.
It really sounds like with Gerry's passing, there's been a massive hole left in the community.
I think there is. I think as long as you keep remembering what maybe is still missing, maybe we can work together towards making things a little bit I wouldn't say better, but just working things out to a point.
Inspire the next generation of people to become leaders, to kind of fill those roles.
Yeah. So I do know that Gerry would, as far as he was a good storyteller, I mentioned, and everyone will tell you that he was a good listener, empathetic listener, and how when you were talking to him, when he was talking to you, you felt like you were the only one in the room. So I would say that's a message that we could probably all take from him, is to, when you're asking people for their stories, whether it's the stories about their history, their culture, their current experiences, past experiences, to really listen to them like they're the only ones in the room.
When does GerryFest take place this year, and how can people get involved, participate? Maybe they can't perform this year, but how do they find out more so they can get all involved for next year and support this endowment fund?
Thank you. Yes. So GerryFest this year is planned to be the weekend of August 13th, 14th, and 15th. The original GerryFest was held on August 14th, which is Gerry's birthday. So we're going to do it that full weekend. Right now we have events planned to start at about 7:00 on site at the Arts Centre. But it'll be like a ticket-only event with COVID rates right now of gathering at 150 people. It's going to be difficult to monitor this because we want to make sure we're staying in the health regulations. We have 10 mentees who are going to be showcasing their work, and we want them to invite, a guest and their sponsor, and also other people who might be able to, support their careers as well moving forward. But so we're going to have a live event the 13th and 14th, and the gallery opened the 13th, 14th, and 15th for people to see the art exhibits inside the gallery during the daytime.
And hopefully next year things will go much smoother. We'll be out of this whole pandemic situation.
You asked how people can participate. We also are going to have a collective kind of an art participation project. We're going to have a community art project, a collective project that people can participate in, and we'll try to arrange it so you can do it online as well. Raising new voices, each one teach one. That's our theme for this year. And so each one teach one, passing on and sharing knowledge, raising new voices, providing new artists with tools to succeed, support for artists through organizing, advocacy, and community, and larger scale social change through community building. So that was our theme, to work together, adapting creatively to foster change. So with our project this year, we're going to ask people a few questions, and they can write them out and either send them to us, or when they're at GerryFest, they'll have an opportunity to write them out and or be videotaped explaining them, describing this to us. And the questions are really, what are your strengths? What are my strengths? How will I share them with the community, with my community? And what does community mean to me? And in what ways have I benefited from my community or communities? And how has my life been shaped by my community, or lack thereof. So we know there's a lot has gone on in the past few years, and we just thought it would be nice to look at strengths and how we can share strengths with each other and our community.
A big shout out to two other members of the GerryFest team, co-chair Louise May and artistic director Brendan Kinley. Your support makes this event possible. If you have any stories you'd like us to share or communities we should highlight, leave a comment on our social media or reach out to us on our website. I'm Ryan Funk. This was You Talk, and have yourself a good one.